If you still have axonometric diagrams like this in your portfolio, consider replacing them with a rendered version like this one. It'll take you only 5 more minutes once you learn the rendering techniques you can do all in Rhino, without even using any third-party plugins like V-Ray or Inkscape. So essentially, you already have all the tools, you have your 3D model that you work so hard on, so why not spend a couple extra minutes to take your portfolio and design representation to the next level. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to achieve this frosted plexiglass model look step by step. Even if you're a Rhino beginner, you'll be able to follow along just fine and create a similar effect. And this type of diagram is applicable to almost every single project. You inevitably have some sort of footprint, and within it are going to be some crucial programs you want to highlight. So instead of using conventional methods of rendering, why not give this a try and stand out from the crowd? So if you're ready, let's dive right into it. Okay, so as per the usual, we'll start with a very simple scene. As you can see, we have a little box that envelopes the whole program, and the red boxes that present different blocks of activities. And connecting them are some escalators, and to the left, there are some floor plates that are represented by simple surfaces. If you have complex models, you might want to simplify them down into a simple model like this as a good starting point. Now, if you have that all set up and ready to go, let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is to place all the objects in appropriate layers. So what I've done is I've sort of separated them into different layers, as you can see. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with the envelope. So first off, I'm going to use explode to explode the little box. And I'm just going to delete the bottom plate because we don't need it. And what we want to do here is extrude all these surfaces so that we add some level of thickness to them. So let's use, so that we can add some tasteful thickness to them. So let's use extrude surface command, and I'm going to use 10 centimeters. Actually not extrude surface. We're going to use the offset surface, and in the option, make sure the corner is sharp, solid is checked to yes, and then we will use the distance of 0.3 meters, so 30 centimeters. Actually, it's 0.1, so that's 10 centimeters. And once you hit enter, that adds a bit of thickness to all the surfaces, and that'll give us a nice physical reflections. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to repeat the same process with the floor plates over here. So let's go ahead and select them all and use offset surface. And we'll keep the direction. All the settings are the same, and I'll hit yes. Alrighty. Now, once that is done, we're going to set up a nice backdrop for the model so that we can create a nice studio lighting and infinite background. So to do so, I'm going to go to the side view over here and start with a polyline. So I will use polyline command, type in 0 to start from the origin, and create a nice right angle line like so. And I'll use the command fillet to round out the corner over here. And you can adjust the radius to make sure it's like very nice and wide so that it creates a nice, And make sure to adjust the radius value to make the roundedness very smooth. Now we'll click on that little polyline and extrude it. Make sure it's really nice and long so that it covers up the peripheral of your camera. And we will move it around so that our model is comfortably within the floor. And as you can see, like the backdrop is a little too short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to control click on one end of it and then move it along the side so that the backdrop covers the whole frame. Okay, and yeah, it's nice to just have a extra large backfill so that you can like rotate around and you won't accidentally see the end of it. Okay, cool. So for our purpose, the setup is pretty good. For now, I'm gonna take this backdrop object surface and put it on a separate layer so that we don't interfere with it accidentally. Then I'm gonna go ahead and lock that layer. Okay, cool. Now this is the step one where we do basic modeling to make sure everything will turn out nicely. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to start creating some material. So let's go over to the materials tab. And if you don't see this, you can go ahead and click on this little gear icon and find it over here. And once you enable this tab, you can click on Create New Material button over here, and we will start with a custom. So for this custom material, I'm just going to name it red because this is going to get assigned to the blocks inside. And for the color, I'll simply use the default red. It might be a little too bright, but you can adjust that later. We'll create another material, which is going to be physically based. And for this one, I will call this frosted glass. And for this, we can leave all the settings the same, but we will just reduce the opacity to about 25. Okay, now once the materials are ready, we can assign them to the layer. So this is one of the reasons why we wanted to separate the materials into different layers so that we can adjust them pretty easily. So to assign the plexi material, I'm going to go ahead and click on the material column over here and choose frosted glass for the walls. So this layer contains all the sides of this model. And I'll go over to the red one and choose the red material. And I will actually do the same for the floor plates on the left over here. Frosted glass. And there we go. Okay, and next up, we will set up the camera, and I'll do something like this. And if you really want to create like a model-like look, you might want to increase the lens length a little bit. So I'll go at 75. So it looks as if I'm like shooting it from like a bit of a distance and zoom in a little bit. And we will go over to the named view tab and save this view. So if you don't see this tab, you can also click on this gear icon to enable it. It's called named view over here. And you can also type in the command to do the same. So I'm going to click on this little save icon over here and save that view. And I'll just simply go over to the right view over here and replicate the same thing. So by double clicking on the view icon, we can get the same view down here. And now I'm going to right click on the perspective view name and choose ray traced so we can preview what the render will look like. And already we can kind of see this frosted glass look with a nice translucent texture. And we can see some of the red boxes coming through. Next thing we want to do is set up the nice studio lighting. And to do so, I'm going to go over to the render tab over here and choose the rectangular light. You can also type in the command as usual. And I'll create a box like this from above. And I'll rotate it so that the light faces the model like so. And now as you can see, our perspective is like totally blown out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the lights tab and disable skylight so that our rectangular light is the only source of light. And what we can also do is go over to the top view and rotate with the model as the center of rotation and slowly rotate the light so that we can kind of observe what this effect has, or like what the light has, like how the light affects the model. And as you can see, as you slowly turn the light to the backside, you can see the internal programs kind of like coming through more clearly. So if that's the sort of effect you want to create, that's a good angle to start with. And I'll start with something like this, sort of like at an oblique angle, because I think it's kind of cool to see this like nice caustic effect happening on the bottom right corner over here. So it'll be really nice to capture that. And there's some level of reflection happening within the box. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay, next up, what you want to do is add some more detail. So this step is sort of a bonus, and this step, and for this step, I'm just gonna go ahead and pause the real-time rendering so that it doesn't overload our system. And I'm gonna start importing some models. So for starters, I'm gonna go ahead and import some 3D models. And I'm gonna grab the set of office desks and chairs that are available in our 3D furniture set. And you can download this for a small fee from the link below. This goes to help the channel, so would really appreciate it if you want to try it. And these are really good ways to, you know, populate your scene and make things a little bit more exciting. So I strongly recommend it. I'll place it in the bottom right corner like so, and then I'll array it. Let's do about 2 in X direction and 3 in Y and 1 in Z. And I'll roughly place them like so, because we mainly see this end of the model anyways. And I will go to the side view and array this according to the number of floors. I think it's about 11. And floor to ceiling is about 3 meters. So I will enter that amount. So I'll do this. Okay, there we go. Cool. Now there are desks and chairs on every level. And as you can see, since I've paused real-time render, you can see that viewport isn't rendering or isn't updating, but I can always click on the little play icon over here to update the view. So if you give it a few seconds, you can kind of see that the furnitures have been added. Okay, while that's done, I'm going to go ahead and import some 3D people as well. Okay, so this is our 3D model set. I'm going to go ahead and click on all of these, copy them, and paste them into our scene. And since it's on a separate layer like this, I'm going to go ahead and lock everything else so that we don't accidentally touch anything. Okay, let's go ahead and start spreading them out a little bit. So a quick command that's going to be useful for you is called random move. This is actually part of a free plugin you can download from our download section. And if you want to get it, I'll provide the link in the description. It's completely free. So yeah, feel free to grab it and use it wherever you want. And if you appreciate some of the resources that we're giving out, would really appreciate thumbs up. And if you subscribe, you can get you can get the latest updates on these resources. So yeah, hope you find these useful. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn this into the right view. So I'm going to type in right. And this makes it really easy for me to place the people in the correct locations. So I'm going to copy them using copy command and place them over here, place them over there. And if you're modifying the scene in a dramatic way like this, you can kind of see that the whole system is like slowing down a little bit. So if you don't want to do that, you can pause the real-time rendering so that you can reduce the load on your PC. Okay, so while that's paused, I'm going to go ahead and add some more people into the locations I want them to be in. There we go. And if you also want to preview what the render will look like without straining your PC, you can also choose the rendered view. It's not going to look as nice, but you can get a rough idea on what the final result will be. So if everything looks good to you, you can revert back the view into the perspective that we have saved and set the display mode back to ray traced. All right, I know it's a little hard to see the people, but they will all come through hopefully when we do the final render. So when the setup is complete, all we really have to do is go over to the render tab over here. And rendering tab, as usual, is available under the options. And for here, I'm going to go ahead and set the quality to at least good quality, because if we start with poor quality and try to improve the graininess, we might actually lose some details like the people. So in our case, I'm going to choose good quality and set our dimensions to something relatively high as well. So 1920 by 1080p, I would say is like the minimum. And if it's for your like final production render, I would opt for something even bigger than that. But for now, I'll choose this. Go over to our perspective and then hit render and see what happens. Okay, there we go. That took a couple minutes, but the final quality is actually really nice. If you zoom in a little bit, you can see all the blocks that are clear towards the front of the model. And as you can see, it gets blurred towards the back. And the rendering is a little bit grainy, so I'm going to enable the NVIDIA denoiser option to make it a little bit more smooth. And if you're losing a lot of details with your model when you turn on the NVIDIA denoiser, what you might want to do is add more information by increasing the dimension of your render, or maybe increase the number of steps to retain as much detail as possible. Okay, cool. What else? Oh yeah, so if you don't see this option, you can get this really quickly by going over to your Rhino and type in the package manager and wait for all the plugins to load and type in denoiser and choose a type that is compatible with your machine. And once that is installed and restarted, you should be able to see that option within Rhino. And of course, you can always sprinkle in additional details to make your renders look good. In our case, I'm going to go ahead and add some more small details. Okay, so what I've done here is simply I've added a few more geometries. So for example, I've added these little walkways on the side. I know it's really hard to see, but let's set this to rendered. Okay, let's go in here. Now there we go. Yeah, so you can see that there are some walkways that are added over there. I'll click on one of these. Yep. And I've also added these mullions across the whole building so that you can add a bit more realism and scale to your whole model. And with those simple changes, your scene will look so much more refined. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna try good quality render with 4K dimension and see what happens. Okay, and here is the result. Look at that. We have this nice smooth rendering or smooth shadow and nice frosted glass texture where you can see a nice reflection at the corners like this. And of course, the contents are clear towards the front and they fade towards the back. And we can see some signs of 3D people that we have placed within. And some interesting caustic action happening on the bottom right corner over here. And it all looks hyper realistic. So yeah, why not give this a try? The whole thing takes only like 5 to 10 minutes. And for that amount of time invested, I think the result is quite stunning. Okay, and next up in our tutorial series, we're gonna teach you how to create this nice plexi LED model with like nice lights embedded inside. And you can use this for a variety of purposes. In this example, this could be like a concept model or even a site diagram. If you want to create something like this, hit subscribe button so that you can get the updates right away. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I'll see you guys next time.